Well, this is definitely a bucket list film for me. I'm down at the incredible Reedsmere Lake with, the word legend is overused in angling, but this man ticks every box. It's my dear friend, Frank. Thank you so much, mate. To be here with you and it is a bucket list thing. It's a proper bucket list thing. And
it's you being here with me as well, mate.
Well, thank you very much, mate. But I know this isn't our actual destination, but to come here, I mean, I said it earlier, but I think it summed it up quite well, that you made Reedsmere, really, in a lot of ways, and Reedsmere made you in terms of, you sort of dovetailed together, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I made the me. You know,
I know, I know what you're saying, but you put it on the map.
Yeah, I suppose I was one of the first to write about it and catalogue it, really, in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And because they did have a publicity ban on it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I ran foul of that at the time, actually. Yeah, which, unbeknown to me, it was a rule and I didn't realise. But yeah, it drew a lot of attention to the water, and it's become an iconic sort of lake, hasn't it, really?
Well, it was the preeminent big fish water in the whole of the Northwest, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It still is. It still is in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know, it's still got that awe about it, you know, that's of specialness.
Yeah.
And the fish are a lot bigger now than when I was fishing.
They are. You showed me some pictures of them. They're
some
incredible.
crackers,
but
isn't they?
some of those old ones that were in it, I think you said there's maybe 3 left, but
yeah, I think maybe 3, possibly 4.
They date back to 58, was it?
58, I think it was. Yeah.
Donald Leaney stocking.
Yeah. Certainly. Yeah, it was in the 50s. Yeah.
Wow. Remarkable.
One of them was moved from Capesthorne. One they call the Plough.
Okay.
I caught it over there about £12.
Right.
But that was stocked by Donald Leaney, I think, because I've seen the old stocking records. It was 50 king carp from the Surrey Trout Farm.
Wow.
Arthur Bradley, the old sort of gatekeeper bailiff, he showed me the original pieces, the receipts. It was 2 lots of 50 king carp that they got.
Did that die with him somewhere in his attic, or someone got those records?
Maybe Jeff's got them. Jeff Hayes and Liz.
Wow.
They're the custodians of the waters with the estate now. So maybe
they might be in the estate records somewhere. Cool, that'd be an amazing.
Yeah, Jeff's got a lot of that sort of stuff that he's saved. You know, he's meticulous with it. So yeah, it's quite a good possibility.
But this is, I mean, your carp fishing exploits are second to none, but some of the things that you've developed and pioneered, I genuinely think have steered a little bit the course of carp fishing and where it's ended up, and a lot of it was here, wasn't it?
Yeah, really. It wasn't just me. There was a lot of innovation went on this particular lake. You know, the things that spring to mind was the single up bait fishing, the fluoro baits.
Yeah.
Mass baiting with hemp, which was used on other waters, but on here it was taken to a different level, I think. Marker floats, bait rockets.
Bait rockets, Stereo tube jobs.
Yeah. My mum lost her teeth when she was only in her 20s to cancer.
Right. Oh, okay.
And she had to have dentures, so I got her Sterident tubes. And was using those in the early days.
Nice.
Yeah. And not just me, there was one of my mates, Steve Cook, he did a lot of the pioneering as well, you know. And,
I heard stories on here, not one of yours actually, but that people used to go out on lilos with sacks of hemp and just slit them open.
Yeah, that's right.
Cooked hemp and just like whole sack.
Yeah. I wouldn't say just uncooked. No, they were.
That's what I mean. A sack of cooked hemp.
Yeah, it was cooked hemp. Yeah.
Slit it open.
Yeah, or they used the buckets. They used to swim out and use the buckets as a flotation aid and just put 10 kilo in or more, 10 kilo dry.
Right. Yeah.
And you could see where they'd done it. Well, I was part of it as well, but I weren't swimming, I must add. My mate used to do the swimming. I used to just plan everything else because I wasn't the best swimmer. He was really good. And he'd go out every night, but he'd do it for 2 weeks before he actually fished, or I did. And you could tell when they were on it, because in the morning the mallards were going crazy.
Right.
Because all the husks were floating to the surface, where the carp were crushing it with pharyngeal teeth.
Yeah.
That was raising to the top, and obviously then you'd see the massive jacuzzi of fizzing as well, you know.
Yeah.
But as soon as they were on it, you knew the fish were crunching the hemp.
Very interesting.
You know, it was something to see.
The way that one of the things that I I mean, the last time I saw you was a few years ago. We stayed at the bar till late,
Yeah,
and you were telling me some of these amazing stories. And your book, which I'd already recommended to the guys at Carp Academy, is a trove of not just information but an insight into. Take this in the best way. You are far from a normal human being. Right? You really are. You're a genius on the spectrum, pioneering, relentless spirit. Like you've done things that people would never dream of doing.
Well, you just made me laugh saying I'm on the spectrum. I would have said off the spectrum.
way off the spectrum. Off the end of the scale. But
I was very extreme. You know, always sort of wanted to have that extra dimension to the fishing. You know, I wanted to make up for time with ingenuity, basically. Yeah. Which is what I think you very much work on, that sort of.
Well, I thought I did until I read your book again. Mate, it's remarkable how the lengths that you go to.
Yeah, you're the same. You're just the same. I've watched you over the years, and the lengths you go to. You know, with your hook sharpening, your rigs, everything that you thought that goes into your fishing is crazy. You know, that's why you're so successful. It's obvious.
Thank you. Well, I mean, with that, and again, that is a cornerstone of your approach, is that you recognise very early on that if you can do some things that are different, that are not mainstream, then you'll exploit areas in the carp's vulnerabilities.
God,
and a lot of your fishing has been based around that way of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, if you do the same as everyone else, you're going to get the same results. But if everyone else is doing the same thing as you and they've got more time, you're not going to do as well as a lot of them.
Right.
So I always worked on it that if I can do something that's completely, you know,
left field,
centre, you know, just something that's going to be unique, not just for unique sake, but you know, the other day I was thinking of things that I've yet to try. That would be.
There are still things.
That would be unique. Yeah. And I mean, someone just asked me a question. They live in France or Spain, it might have been, and he was saying that the lakes that he fishes and the river systems are surrounded by chestnut trees, and they're falling into the lakes and the water systems continually. And are they okay to use as bait? And they are.
Right.
You don't even have to cook them.
They taste lovely, don't they?
Yeah.
We eat them.
You can use them raw or you can use them cooked.
Right.
They work. Same with acorns.
Right.
So I mentioned this year has been an amazing year for acorns. Because it's been so hot and dry, all the oaks have gone into panic mode. So what they do is think, we're going to die.
Right.
Let's get rid of all our offspring.
Oh, really?
So you have a bumper acorn year because of the conditions.
Right.
So everywhere is just getting bombarded with acorns, and carp can eat acorns. Tony Davis-Patrick came in on it, and he said he's used them extensively for carp bait. Wow. They've got some kind of slightly, mildly sort of acidic taste to them. Yeah. But if you leave them soaking in water for a couple of days, it leaches out of them, and they're fine to use.
Mad. Amazing. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I've never just things like that, you know, that you might not realise that are part of nature, that, you know, it's nature's harvest, really, isn't it?
Mate, the nature part of it is, it's funny you mention acorns, because when I was walking the dog with River the other day, I picked one up and I said, inside that is all the information encoded to make that, and for it to change its cycle every year. Every year to go exfoliate, I suppose, is actually the foliage falling, and then to regenerate every year. But even to do what you just said, to sense that there's a drought and they might die.
No, it's mad, isn't it? Some
all of that's encoded in that.
Yeah, no, in a piece of wood.
Yeah. You know, makes my head hurt when I think of things like that.
Fantastic, isn't it?
It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah. Well, I think this isn't our destination. I would love to have been fishing here, but I think we're going somewhere else in Cheshire.
Yeah, we're going to another mere that I fish quite a lot. It's a syndicate water. It's not a club water. Yeah. And I managed to get you a guestie down there, haven't I?
Thank you very much, mate, yeah.
Because you've been sort of looking at the shots, and
the fish that you've been catching,
gagging to come, haven't you?
The fish are just sensational, and to get out with you was one thing, but to go somewhere, well, just to come here. If this was the end of it, if we talk for half hour, make a quick film, and I'll drive home, I would be very happy. But to go fishing with you would be a dream. So
Well, we've never done it, have we? So it's
No.
about time, you know, we know each other.
we've been on events, haven't we? We've
yeah,
been on the same
20,
complex. but
25,
we've never,
30 years.
Yeah, it's a long old time.
But we've
that
never
was.
wet a line together, so this is perfect opportunity. And
Right.
we're gonna no doubt catalogue a lot of the things that we've done, you know.
There's going to be so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So much to talk
mean-
about. So, yeah. Well, we've got a couple of days fishing with the man himself. It's early October. We're blessed with pretty good weather, Frank. I think it's not
beautiful,
looking
isn't it,
too
really?
bad.
Yeah.
We're going to say adieu to Reedsmere, which
Yeah.
has made an amazing backdrop for our chat. And
You'll have to
getting
come
our
back
vans
and
in.
fish it sometime.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
I definitely will. Yeah,
yeah.
thanks for that, Frank.
You know, I've told you how to do it. So
You have, yeah, which has surprised me actually. So,
Yeah.
you never hear of southern anglers coming up north, do you?
No.
It's always you tasty guys coming down and
Yeah.
taking our waters apart. So,
Well, it's
not that I'll be able to do that, but just to come up here and fish it.
no.
would just
I think you'd do well on it. I think you'd love it. I think you would really love it, and they're an amazing strain of fish, you know.
be
So
very special
Yeah.
indeed. Right, we're going to jump in our vans. We'll see you at Frank's Syndicate in a little while. Can't
See you in a
wait.
So it's much nicer than you think, Adam. Yeah.
My word, that is amazing. What year did you first come on here, Frank?
1974.
Did you really?
Yeah.
But you only got a proper ticket recently?
Well, what
or-
happened was, it was a day ticket. An old farmer had it.
Right.
It was a bit of a hermit farmer. He had it in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
No one ever bothered with it. It was full of snags, massive trees, big mature trees
right.
on the bottom,
Right.
and it had 120 in and a handful of doubles that people thought, you know, but
But a 20 in the 70s, so.
oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So the carp tend to like the padded area.
Yeah,
that
they,
like
they
cover,
just they
don't
just
they,
feel
everywhere?
safe.
Yeah.
in there, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've caught them in open water, but it seems a lot more waiting time because
Right.
they've almost been conditioned by the anglers that fish it to fish near the pads.
Right.
You know, it's like your dog knows where its dog bowl is, sort of
Yeah,
thing. You know, I like that swim next door. The caravan swim is
Yeah.
a very good swim because you've got a lot of water.
Okay.
You access to all the front of the pads,
Yeah.
and it just you're coming from deep water to viable water that's you
Right.
know they get fed there a lot as well, I suppose.
Okay.
I mean, there's that, or there's those swims over there. You know, the Middle Wood and the Telegraph. It's good, but it's a lot of lines going to quite a small area of pads
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And if you don't fish to the pads, you're in deep water, and the
Right.
margins don't get fed very much. So
Okay.
you know,
It's pads or nothing really.
yeah.
And you
yeah.
said the open water fishing is just slower.
Yeah, because of the depths you've got. A lot of the features are in quite deep water, and it's low oxygen down there,
Right.
and they're not used to getting fed there. So,
Mm.
you know, when we want to try and catch some fish for the folks, we might as well
Yeah.
give it a good shot. You know,
Yeah.
What I know works.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, that come down. I don't want that hitting me. There's acorns raining out the
Yeah.
oak trees, like nothing I've ever seen. There's a carpet of them, isn't there, Frank?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
the way up.
Yeah, it's the
round-
year of the acorn, isn't it?
Yeah, remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's get cracking then. If you fancy that, I'll go. I don't mind going.
There's
in
nothing
there
wrong with
next
this
to
one, mate, because I've had some spectacular fish out of this. So,
Okay.
you know,
you. Fantastic. Lovely.
it's a very good winter swim, this as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, let's get some gear.
Yeah, smashing.
Excellent. Brilliant. Well, as many of you will know, the Challenge series is about turning up cold on circuit waters and proving that our tactics work. Periodically though, we do intersperse the Challenge series with on the bank sessions with very special guests. and there's none finer or bigger or more respected, in my view, than the man we're with for this session, Frank Warwick. I'm so excited about this trip. I didn't sleep last night, and I've just been, in fact, the whole week leading up to this has been broken sleep, lots of excitement, thoughts and plans, and so on and so forth. So this session will be a little bit different from the standard challenge series insofar as we're not turning up cold at a day ticket lake, which we're then going to try and unlock the code to. Where we are is a very, very special, very, very private syndicate in Cheshire, which Frank has been fishing for a while. And obviously, as Frank was agreeable to be our guest, then of course we're going to go wherever he tells us to go. And this was where he's been doing his fishing, and my God, I can see why he wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So we're going to go into a 48-hour session on this syndicate with Frank, and the area that is vacant, there's no other people here at the moment, which surprised us when we pulled in. We thought there might be a couple of other anglers about. We've got a full moon, the weather's not too bad, but the lake was empty. So Frank knows the lake very well, obviously as good an angling talent as you could possibly have, and those two things combined, he knows there's a certain area of the lake where the fish just tend to live. And you always find this on, you know, quite often I'll say to lake owners or bailiffs or people that just fish the lake a lot, if you stopped fishing here for 5 years and then came back, where do you think those fish would have made their home? Where would be their favourite haunts? And it's always an interesting question. And Frank said without hesitation that area is where he's intending to fish, which is a big sort of peninsula of pads on a gravel sort of and clay peninsula that comes off an island out of very, very deep water, 30 odd foot up onto this ridge. And Frank's very, very happy fishing there. So of course, I'm very, very happy to just go in next to him, which is a swim called Little Oaks, which we'll have a look at in a minute. I've already seen a bit of fizzing activity in the pads behind, or just behind the pads, I should say. So I'm going to look at how I'm going to approach that and attack that. But ostensibly this session, this film, is going to be about Frank, the man himself, getting inside his head. He's one of the most fiercely intelligent and, well, I would say, genius level thinkers. He's one of those classic examples of someone that might not have loads of qualifications, but is fiercely independent spirit and very, very smart with it. And you can certainly see that through Frank's writings and through his catches and through his influence on the pantheon of carp fishing, which we will touch more on, because you can't understate enough the impact that this man has had on our sport, which is enduring to this day. So a lot of the session's going to be me and Frank chatting about his edges, the things he's learned, because of course Carp Academy is giving you watching the opportunity to take away some gems and put them into your own fishing. So it's going to be an information-based film, the same as all our content is, but in a slightly different slant insofar as we're going to be doing it through the conduit of Frank Warwick himself. So I've got some gear on a barrow, which won't actually fit through the gate because my back wheels are a bit too wide. So I'm going to carry some of my gear down to my swim and look at getting sorted. I'm dying to show you this spot where I found them fizzing as well. It looks, well, I'm dying for you to have a proper look at the lake as what that's going to look like tomorrow morning when, let's hope we have a cold night with some mist at dawn. I mean, we couldn't have a better blank canvas to do a painting on for 48 hours. So here we go. Okay, well the gear's in the swim, but before I get set up I've got to show you this little alcove down here and this little shady canopy. Come and have a look. Well, this is what we call in the trade CAF. You can work that out yourselves. It's absolutely picture postcard carp heaven, isn't it? Got this lovely overhang. I mean, it's not fishable, it's not a swim. But I just walked down here because this is the other side of the pads which are in my swim. It drops into a little bowl right in the corner of the lake here. And out there are some fish that are fizzing. Seen some good patches of bubbles. Looks like several different fish. And what I really fancy doing is either with a catapult or with a little stick is just dripping some boilies out there today, little and often, into the evening, through the night, and then maybe fishing it tomorrow, or maybe even fishing it on the last day. As we all know, free safe food, carefully applied, can be a real weapon. And although I could come in here and fish this spot today, it's too far away from Frank. And he's my priority, so I'm going to be in the swim nearest him, which means I won't be able to get a line on this. That doesn't mean that I can't bait it and see if I can get something going. So that's the plan. Now, as I mentioned, this isn't your typical watercraft sort of session where we lap and lap the lake and look at where the fish are showing and so on. Frank knows where the fish are in front of his swim and where they tend to habitually circulate. So I'm going to make the most of what I've got here. But you know what? Seen a few bubbles, seen a few bits of moving pad stem, and just the other side of the pads, seen that fizzing going on as well. So I think there's some fish doing the rounds in this area. Just need to get a couple of traps set and see if I can make something happen. So the first thing, as with any new project, is to get a light lead on some braid. It's going to be very short, intimate work. I just want to plop that around, see what the bottom's like, and then make a plan accordingly. It's such an intimate environment here that even just taking the Velcro off the pouch holder and off of the sleeve, the zip on the sleeve, everything seems really loud. I noticed Frank's creeping around in some soft slippers. He's got a gravelly sort of swim where his bivvy's set up, and he's no fool, is he? He's acutely aware of vibration and noise. And when you come onto a lake that gets very, very little pressure, there is a syndicate on here, they get fished, you know, but it's not like your standard sort of pressure that we see on so many lakes these days. These fish will be acutely aware of any intrusion into their environment, so we're going to have to be on top of our game if we're going to nick a bite. So yeah, the noisy Velcro is off. I'm going to put the rod together and put this little lead around the swim. What I've been told by Frank and the owner Andrew is that where you see the pads is very high raised shallow ground, and where you don't see the pads tends to drop off very, very sharply into a bit of an abyss. Certainly out here in front of this swim at more than 30 yards or so, it goes down to 30 odd feet, so very, very deep bit of water. Frank says generally speaking the fish tend to do most of their feeding and their activity in the shallower water, so 10 foot or less. On the pads to my left, there's a couple of little alcoves, and I've cast a lead in there. I reckon it's maybe 6 or 7 foot, probably 6 foot of water. Really, really hard, super clean bottom, no debris, nothing. And if I go a little bit right, it drops off quite sharply. So I'm on that shallow sort of shoulder of the plateau before it drops down deep. I'm just going to do a couple more casts just to sanity check it, but I think that's where our left-hand rod's going to go. That took a little bit longer than I anticipated. The area of ground right on the edge of the pads is very, very hard, but it's also littered with structures which might be big swan mussels or rhizomes, which are the stems of the pads. Something's not right down there. A couple of casts, it feels like your lead almost hit fish on the way down. It goes dunk, dunk, like that. So I don't want to be anywhere like that. I just want a smooth pull. So I've gone a little bit to the right and a little bit further, and I've found some very, very smooth, clean silt, which is actually where we saw a fish fizzing when we came in here a couple of hours ago. So that's the zone. It's deeper, it's softer, but it's smooth and clean. All I need to do now is just wrap it out, and hopefully it's going to be at a distance that my baiting spoon will reach. I've got quite a few sections, but let's see how far we're talking. Well, you need this to be a hard hat zone, really, health and safety. These acorns are coming down like cannonballs all around us. Frank just come in to swim a little while ago with a china plate that I gave him his lunch on, and one came out of the tree and nearly cracked the plate in half. Anyway, very pleasingly, this is 6 wraps and 4 foot, which is just about the limit of my sections. So I'm going to get a rig and a rod sorted out, and we'll get the baiting pole out of the van. We're good to go. So I've seen some of the pictures of the fish in here, and they really are stupendous. I got in touch with Frank when he started posting them a couple of years ago, saying, where on earth are you catching those, if you don't mind me asking? And this is where they were coming from. And when you bear in mind we're in Cheshire, you know, not exactly the hotbed of big carp UK, but when I saw Frank holding chocolate coloured, incredible jaw-dropping commons up to nearly 47 pound. I think one of the ones he caught was a Cheshire record, actually. Then I thought, well, fish like that, there's some incredible mirrors as well. There's more commons than there are mirrors. So the lake itself that we're at is about 4 or 5, probably 5 acres, I think Frank said it is. As we said, down to 30 feet in places, so very, very deep. But of course it's got lots of shallow areas which are festooned in these thick pads that we see all around the lake, and they really are beautiful to look at, and will of course be carp magnets, because, well, Frank's already pointed out that they don't tend to find the carp very often foraging in that abyss. They tend to look for food around the pad stems, and that's where they've got shelter, sanctuary and comfort. So probably 2/3 of the fish are commons, 1/3 mirrors, and there's about 100 fish in 5 acres, so something like that, several 40s. An incredible stock of fish, really, and some of them are very, very ancient indeed. There's one fish in here which goes 45 pound, I think. It's called might be called the Unknown, I think, something like that. It's been caught twice in its life. That's the fish that Frank's after. So he brought his son down, Guy, on a guest session, and Guy caught it, which was its second capture. So it's done 2 captures in its life. It's a mid-40, it's so old looking. It's one of those where the scales just burnished and almost set into the body, and with this great big prehistoric head and underslung mouth. The fishing here are just quite divine. Now, I couldn't take it lightly coming up here. Obviously, fishing for any carp actually would be a Cheshire PB for me, so I would be a northern PB even, so I'll be happy with. But bearing in mind there are some real leviathans out there, there are pads and there are snags and so on and so forth, and the time of year. You know, we've said on Carp Academy many times, once you get into this period now, it's the end of the first week of October already, and the fishing on a lot of venues is getting trickier and trickier. So I wasn't going to come up and fish boilies. I've come armed with caster, hemp and tiger nuts. So it's a lovely relaxed syndicate. There's no rules except no braided main line, just sensible fishing, which are good sensible rules. Is to have no rules, just leave it to the anglers. You know, if you've got a small syndicate of like-minded people, experienced anglers, then ultimately you don't really need to have rules, and that's certainly what's happening here. So I'm going in with that classic autumn triumvirate of hemp, caster and tiger. We've got a full moon, got big commons, and I'm hoping that that sort of a crunchy factor of natural bait like that will appeal to some of these fish that even the other ones in there don't get caught that often. So I'm going to sharpen up a couple of rigs, and we found that spot out in the smooth silt. I'm going to get the bait pole out there and we're going to tip some of that caster, hemp and tiger down there. And I think I'm going to cast my rig, make sure I get the drop dead right, with half a tiger nut topped with a little raft of rubber casters. Got our first rod out. It's on that silty spot to the left, just off the side of the pads, where it drops down a bit deeper and it's smooth and it's not full of what feel like roots and little stumps sticking up off the bottom. So I've baited that with 4 drops of half a spoon, which might seem a lot. It's going down through deep water and it's lots of very, very small food items. So I've put out 2 pints of casters, 2 handfuls of crushed peanut, some of my super spewy garlic hemp, and a few tiger nuts along with the tiger nut juice. So it's an ultimate crunchy nut and seed fest, and yeah, the cast went in beautiful. I was going to drop it with a spoon, but I thought I'm going to cast it to the clip, feel it down, went in nicely first time. Now the reason I did that was because threading out a rod through this near fringe of pads, obviously I would have the line running off the reel, fluorocarbon. By the time I got it out there and I've controlled the pole, that fluorocarbon could have sunk and bedded into the pads where I didn't want it to. So I thought if I cast, then there's a tiny little gap between 2 leaves. I thought it's in line with the spot. If I cast and get it bang on, I can sink it between those pads, which I managed to do. And we've now got a perfect line lay all the way out to the spot. Now all I need to do is find a spot for the second rod, and we're cooking on gas. Well, the topography of the lake is quite extreme in nature, and the area in front of our swims is very, very steep-sided. And when the owner came by, he said that the odd lilies that I can see in front of me form the edge of what was originally the margin. And then a number of years, maybe decades earlier, they dug it back and regained a little bit of water. And so what I'm thinking is, I want to fish the original margin, which is probably about 20 yards out. But I am mindful of the fact that out in front of me, it goes down to 30 foot. I want to fish this rod on boilies, and I'm mindful of the fact that they could be tumbling and rolling down the shelf. Obviously, that is a consideration when you're fishing on any kind of slope. So I want to put a float out, which you very rarely see me do on Carp Academy, but they do have their place, and I do always carry a few little pike floats just for close-in work. I think the last time I used this was probably on our A1 pits film 2 summers ago, just to pinpoint a little spot that I could spoon some bait onto. Marker floats are not something I use every time, obviously, but they are a tool which is very well worth having. And in this situation, I can put it out a bit further and I can discern the gradient. If I pull it and over the course of a short pull, the depth has changed radically, then I'm going to have to rethink my approach, maybe crush or halve the boilies. But if it's a nice slow bit, if I can find a bit of flatter bottom at the bottom of the shelf before it goes down again, perhaps sometimes you find ledges, then that would be perfect for putting a few boilies around. So let's throw the float around. I've threaded a 3.5 ounce lead onto the end there, and all I need to do is just get a quick link and a bead, and we'll attach the float. And I'm mindful also of the fact that I don't want to make much disturbance. Frank's fishing obviously next door, but he's fishing out a lot further. He's going out to the main bed of lily pads I should say. So I'm not going to be disturbing him, but at the same time it is such a quiet, intimate bit of water that I don't want to be plonking around and splashing and so on, which is another reason why I use the baiting spoon rather than the spod. So a couple of casts, we'll just see what's going on, and if nothing really lights my fire, then we'll make another plan. So I'm just going to put a stop bead on here, then a quick link, and we'll get that float out there. There's no weed. There is in margin, in the new margin, just off the rod tips there is a bit of weed. Nice green, thick Canadian pondweed, but out there in the main part of the lake there doesn't seem to be any. So I'm just going to clip that on there. What I was going to say was, if you are using a marker float and you have got weed on the bottom, you'll need to separate the lead. So you can see the lead's just sliding there on the ring, but if there is a lot of weed on the bottom, what you'll need to do is get your lead and make a boom, maybe 3-4 inches, sometimes 6 inches of coated braid, and then have a ring or a swivel on that, and then slide that on your line, and it means that you'll still be able to take depth readings without it jamming in the weed. So I don't do that very often, just because usually the spots I want to fish aren't over weed, but I'll just mention it because it is something that can be useful. So let's see what we've got out there. Let's get the Polaroids back on and make a cast. Okay, the light's going very, very quickly now. Got 2 rods out, I'm very happy with them. The right hand rod, just a Bermuda, and 20 boilies over the top with a catapult. Found a spot by just nice and flat, pulled the lead, it was clean enough. So I've cast it was 5 wraps and a little bit, got a good drop, and then catapulted into the rings, and that's it. 2 rods are sorted. I have just nipped around this bay, and the only fish that has shown today that I've seen was in this bay. I didn't actually see it, but I heard it, and you could see the ripples coming out, and that's where they were fizzing when I first turned up. As I said at the time, you know, if this was just me fishing, I would have been in there, but it's too far from Frank. But doesn't mean I can't bait it and just let it mature and ferment a little bit. So I spread about 1.5 kilos of boilies through that area. It's the only place the fish has showed. It's where I've seen the bubbles, and I'm very, very confident the fish will come and eat those boilies, and it's the application of free safe food, isn't it? So everything's set, going into our first night at this truly stupendously beautiful lake. I'm proper excited. I'm gonna go down, have a chat with Frank, and then we're gonna light the barbecue. Well, Frank, look at that for a view.
It's special, isn't it?
It's proper special.
You think it's even more special than I described it, don't you?
Yeah,
really?
I do, yeah.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's insane. It's the most. I fished at Peter Drennan's got an estate lake called Ensham Hall.
Yeah, I fished it, yeah.
Oh, you fished it?
Yeah, yeah.
Who took you there, Martin or Tell?
Martin and Peter came with me.
Right.
Peter wanted me to join Drennan, ESP, probably 2003, something like that.
Oh, right.
And then I went down and I loved it, and we had a great day. And Peter took me out for lunch.
Yeah.
And did the proposal, and I didn't end up taking him up, was the pity.
Right.
But at the time I was with a number of companies, and
Yeah.
Pete wanted me to leave them all and just go with Drennan. And I says, mate, it's like having an oil rig with 5 legs on it. There's a bit more support than if I just go to
100%.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So I said.
Interesting. So you fished Ensham Hall then?
Yeah. Beautiful, isn't it? Mega.
This is like a bigger version of this, isn't it? But yeah, I like this because of the intimacy, and also the fact that it's so old. You know, the thousands of years of history out there.
Yeah, it's an Ice Age kettle.
An Ice Age kettle. What does that mean?
A kettle is like it's almost like it's probably interesting to look into that. It's like where the last of the glaciers melted away, the sheer weight and pressure of them formed, like they call them a kettle, almost like the bottom of a kettle.
The pressure indented the earth.
Yeah, so it'd be a natural sort of softer spot that would, the rock around it would be scoured, and that'd be maybe a silt pocket or something, and it'd end up causing like a bowl.
Oh, like a sump. Oh,
yeah, like a sump. Yeah,
right.
yeah. That's a good way to put it. That.
Right.
Yeah. But the old-fashioned term was a kettle.
Right.
There's a lot of them in Shropshire around the, where the mangrove is,
like
and they're all.
Because the ground's peaty, is it, or?
Yeah, a little bit, and it's an anomaly. I mean, most of Cheshire in the Triassic period and the Jurassic period was under a shallow tropical sea.
Right.
And where with the tectonic plates when they moved.
Yeah.
Well, Cheshire was where the Sahara Desert is now.
Really?
Yeah. And the Jurassic coast, that's why you don't get many fossils. You get massive salt mines in Cheshire.
Right.
Around Winsford area, Northwich.
Yeah.
The salt's like 40, 50 foot thick. That's where the shallow seas over millions of years deposited salt, And sandstone is very prevalent around here. And also you get very few fossils because it was shallow, not a lot going on.
Right.
So you don't get any of the land dwelling,
so just sea creatures which didn't leave much fossilisation and loads of salt.
Yes, and then the Jurassic coast, Dorset and all that, was on the edge of where the shallow sea was, where the land started. So it's all spun around, if you know what I mean. So the little sort of...
you do fascinate me, Frank. That's superb. So we're going into our first night together. We're going to have a little bit of food, and I might even open a little bit of red wine, because it'd be rude not to have a little sip with you.
Oh yeah, of course it would.
Soak up this atmosphere, and if we hear them clonking out, sloshing over out there, it make the hairs on the back of my neck go up. But what's your
Oh,
Sorry.
I'll tell you what's amazing. The
Go on.
weather today has been incredible, hasn't it?
It's been really warm.
We had that
hasn't it?
big storm at the weekend,
Yeah.
and it was cold.
Yeah.
My wife actually had the central heating on.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Mine wanted to, but I wouldn't let her.
Yeah, no, mine nags too much, so I have to cave in. So, anyway, today it's been t-shirt
It
weather.
has, yeah.
It's
It's been a
fantastic.
beautiful day. I think the van was reading 18, 19 degrees.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
This-
perfect.
This venue does not like rain.
Oh, right.
It
okay.
doesn't like low pressure.
Right.
It's quite fine with a decent weather like we've had today.
Right.
With a high pressure,
Okay.
it tends to fish well.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
The pressure, I think, is 1,023 or so. So it's getting up there.
Yeah. Well, it's not a problem on it.
Okay.
You know, you will get bites like that. I found it sometimes when it's absolutely tearing the bottom up and lashing down with rain, it's been slow because it tends to flood easy.
Right.
I was over in a swim over there called the Telegraph,
Yeah.
and I decided to call it quits because I had trees coming down and everything.
Right.
And I just thought it was a hurricane virtually.
Right.
And where my bivvy had been was under 8 feet of water the following day.
It's lucky you got out of
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Christ.
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was,
Okay.
you know.
So is that coming in on that? Is that the inflow?
Yeah,
from
that's the
ice
inlet
swim?
there, yeah.
Right,
And
okay.
the outlet couldn't cope with it
Right.
because we'd had no rain for ages and the ground was hard,
Yeah,
and then it was
yeah.
like bang, you know.
Didn't absorb it.
Yeah.
So what's your feelings going into the first night? Are you feeling? Do you always feel confident in here?
I
or-
do, because I know it very well, and I've had a lot of fish out of here, so I know the score and how it's probably going to shape up.
Right.
But it's without a doubt, it's a 48-hour limit on this water.
Yeah.
The second 48 is without doubt. It's the
Second
second
half of the-
24
yeah.
of the 48 is definitely the better time.
Right.
And I'm probably going to give too much away here, but if this is a water where if you're busy, too busy, some waters respond to constantly changing
Yeah.
and refreshing the bait and
Yeah.
topping up and doing that. I tend to find a spot within a spot,
Yeah.
and I'll sit on my hands then
Ah.
and play the waiting game.
Right.
And I found that I've seen a lot of the other guys that fidget
Yeah.
and particularly recasting at feeding time in the morning.
Oh, you see that everywhere, Frank. What is that about?
What are you doing? You know, you just killed yourself. And
Yeah. It's a big bugbear of mine.
yeah,
that.
and you know, I think, okay, some people think that if they've not had a bite overnight, they must move it because it won't harm it doing it. But on this place, it's so small and intimate.
Yeah.
They know you're here,
100%.
so you start
Yeah.
re-chucking it, and because of the features that are so small and awkward, if you start recasting, I mean, a lot of the guys use boats on here. I'm not going to
Yeah,
lie about it, because you've seen yourself how crazy some of the features are. Aren't
Yeah,
they?
well, the features are crazy, and you might only have that one bite of the cherry at first light, and if you
Yeah.
have to redo a rod at that point because you've had a tench, or if you're redoing it because it's bad angling, you think, oh, I'll get it ready for the day.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's what they do, isn't it? Some of them.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's wise advice.
Yeah.
That is, do it as well as you can, and leave it. Have the confidence to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's nothing. I've always said this. When I first go on a venue, I have clocks under the rods, the pound clocks from the pound shop,
Yeah.
and I stick them under the rods, and I time each rod. So one rod I'll recast every 2 hours.
Yeah.
One rod I might do every 4 hours, and one 12 hours.
Okay.
And then I'll try and work out if there's, especially if there's a good head of fish, it tends to be the rod that you recast the most. But if you're on a low stock water, it tends to go the opposite way
Right.
a little bit. But there again, you don't know until you try it.
Yeah.
And then it's one of the few things that you can do to form a pattern,
Right.
because what we tend to do is we go on guesswork or traditional. Oh, let's have a recast at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning when the so-called morning feeding spells
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah.
Or else we'll do it just before we go to bed, an hour before it gets dark, or 2 hours. And you don't know, well, that might be a prime feeding time, but if you stagger the rods and time each one and sit on your hands on one rod and then regularly recast with another, especially if you're using solid bags, funny enough,
Yeah. Or a method.
or a method,
Yeah.
yeah, because with solids you've got a lot of small pellets traditionally, typically,
Yeah.
and you can get the bits, clean them out and everything. You've just got a very short rig there, exposed lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's best to be busy with those.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really do solids on here.
Right.
It's just not the one,
Okay.
you know.
Well, I mean, there's loads of really great advice there, Frank. Your mind is so analytical. It astounds me, really. We're going to get into that tomorrow, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, of course it is.
The light's going real quick now.
Yeah.
I think Chris is saying we're losing that now. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go and light up the barbecue and enjoy your company for the evening.
Mate, I'm enjoying yours, you know. It's
Top
fantastic.
man.
It's about time we did this.
It is. Thank you.
Another quick tip as well, by the way, before we go.
Yeah.
Just as a quickie, I always have a 4th rod or
Right.
a 3rd rod if it's a 2-rod venue.
Yeah.
I always have one ready to go.
Yes.
A lot of people go, oh, what's all that about? I go to that trouble and I always have it ready with the baits on, everything primed, ready.
Right.
And that's caught me so many fish, that. Because at prime feeding time in the morning, the last thing you want is a hook blunt, and you've got to mess around changing rigs and that. I'm straight back out and back on it. And it's an absolute prerequisite, I think.
Advice.
You know,
I love that.
So
Excellent.
extra little tip there.
Right, we're going to settle down for the evening, guys. Hope you're enjoying the content so far.
Yeah.
This is Dream Session for me. We'll catch you later on.